Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the vast valley below. Your heart is pounding, your breath is uneven, and every part of your body screams, "Don't jump." Fear is loud, doubt is heavy, but then a whisper cuts through the noise. What if you can? What if you can rise higher than you've ever dreamed? What if you can achieve the things that people told you were impossible? What if the very life you're craving is just one courageous step away? We all live with invisible cages. Some cages are built from failure. Some are built from rejection. And many are built from our own thoughts, beliefs we've been carrying since childhood. I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. I don't have what it takes. These thoughts become walls, and soon, you stop even trying to climb them. But let me ask you this. What if those walls aren't real? What if they're made of paper, and the only thing keeping you from breaking through is the belief that they're stronger than they are? Think back to the first time you failed. Maybe it was a school test you didn't pass, a job you didn't get, a dream that slipped through your fingers. That sting of failure stuck with you, didn't it? It whispered, "See, you're not good enough." And over time, you believed it. You carried that voice into adulthood, into every decision, into every chance you didn't take. But here's the truth. Failure isn't the end, it's the beginning. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, has a trail of failures behind them. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." What if he stopped at failure number 9,999? What if he listened to the voices that said he wasn't capable? The world would be darker today, literally. And that's the point. What if you can, but you quit too early? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your best life. Not the safe one. Not the one where you play small and stay comfortable. I'm talking about the version of you who took the risks, who said yes when it was scary, who didn't let fear choke their potential. That version of you already exists. It's not a fantasy. It's waiting on the other side of courage. I remember a story of a young man. We'll call him Alex. Alex grew up in a small town where nobody believed in big dreams. His family told him, "Get a safe job. Don't risk too much. Don't dream too high." But Alex had this fire in him, this vision of building his own business. The problem? Every time he took a step, he stumbled. He lost money, he lost confidence, and at one point, he almost gave up. But then, one night, sitting alone, he asked himself the question, "What if I can?" That question lit him up. It reminded him that failure wasn't proof he couldn't. It was proof that he was learning. He got back up, kept fighting, and years later, that business not only succeeded, but it changed his entire family's future. All because he stopped listening to the "what if I can't" and started believing in the "what if I can." Let that sink in. The power of a single thought can change the entire course of your life. So, ask yourself right now, what if you can? What if you can lose the weight? What if you can get that promotion? What if you can heal from the pain that's been holding you down? What if you can build something that outlives you? The only way to find out is to try. Because here's the harsh truth. Life is going to pass whether you believe in yourself or not. The clock is ticking. Each day is a page written. And the question is, are you writing a story of regret or a story of courage? When you look back years from now, will you be haunted by the chances you didn't take? Or will you smile, knowing that even if you stumbled, even if you struggled, you tried, and you discovered that you could? Remember this. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Don't let your doubt write your story. Don't let fear be the author of your life. You hold the pen. You decide what happens next. So tonight, when you lie in bed and that little voice starts whispering, what if you fail? What if it doesn't work? What if you're not enough? I want you to answer back with this. But what if I can? Because maybe, just maybe, that one shift in your belief is the key to everything you've ever wanted. You see, the world is full of people who stopped asking the question. They stopped believing in their own ability to change. They traded their potential for comfort, their dreams for routine, their courage for excuses. And the sad truth? Most people don't fail because they couldn't make it. They fail because they never tried. Think about the stories you've heard of people who became legends in their fields. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. Every single one of them faced the same doubts you do. They weren't born superheroes. They weren't born with guarantees. They started exactly where you are, staring at a dream that felt bigger than them, hearing the whispers of fear, and still daring to ask, "But what if I can?" There's a woman named Sarah I once met. She was a single mother, working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. Every day felt like survival. Bills stacked up, opportunities slipped away, and exhaustion was her constant companion. She wanted to go back to school, but everyone told her it was impossible. You've got kids to raise. You don't have the time. You don't have the money. But one night, as she tucked her kids into bed, she caught her reflection in the mirror. She looked at herself, not with judgment, but with a quiet, burning question. What if I can? What if I can finish school? What if I can create a life where my children don't have to watch me struggle? So she started, one class at a time, one book at a time. She studied after work, after putting her kids to sleep, sometimes running on 2 hours of rest. It wasn't easy. It was painful. It was lonely. But she kept asking, every step, what if I can? Years later, she walked across that graduation stage. And as her children clapped and cried in the audience, she realized she didn't just answer the question. She proved it. What if you can? What if your next chapter is the one that changes everything? What if all the pain, all the struggle, all the nights you almost quit are the exact fuel you need to build something remarkable? See, you've been lied to. You've been told that only a select few make it. That success is reserved for the lucky, the talented, the chosen. But here's the truth. Success belongs to the ones who refuse to quit, to the ones who keep showing up, to the ones who, even when life punches them in the gut, get back up and whisper, what if I can? Listen, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to fall. People will doubt you. People will laugh at you. People will point at your failures as proof that you'll never rise. But remember this, their laughter doesn't define you. Their disbelief doesn't define you. Your resilience defines you. Your persistence defines you. Michael Jordan once said, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed. What if he had quit after the first missed shot? What if he had listened when his high school coach told him he wasn't good enough? Now think about you. How many dreams have you benched because of one bad game? How many goals have you abandoned because someone told you you weren't enough? But here's the fire. What if they were wrong? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the belief that you can't have it? Your past mistakes don't define you. Your pain doesn't define you. Even your current circumstances don't define you. The only thing that defines you is the choice you make right now. And right now, you have 2 voices fighting for control. One says, it's too hard. You're not ready. You'll never make it. The other says, what if you can? Which voice will you follow? Picture this. A person sitting in a dark room, staring at a closed door. They feel trapped, hopeless. They think the door is locked, and they never even try to open it. But here's the secret. The door was never locked. It was always open. All they had to do was push. That's your life. That's your potential. You're sitting in a room thinking the door is locked. But what if it isn't? What if freedom, success, purpose, all of it, is just waiting for you to try the handle? You don't need certainty to move forward. You don't need proof that it will all work out. All you need is faith. Faith in the possibility. Because possibility is powerful. Possibility is what turns impossible into I'm possible. Every time fear whispers, what if you fail? I want you to counter with, what if I can? What if I can rise? What if I can heal? What if I can love again? What if I can build something bigger than my pain? The world has enough people living in what if I can't. Be the one who dares to live in what if I can. Because maybe, just maybe, that's the very question that will lead you to your destiny. There's a moment in everyone's life where the weight feels unbearable. You've tried, you've fought, you've given everything, and yet, nothing seems to change. That's the crossroads where most people stop. They say, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm just not cut out for more. But what if that exact moment, the one where you feel like giving up, is the turning point? I want you to picture a marathon runner. 26 miles. Endless hours of training. But do you know when most runners quit? Around mile 20. That's when exhaustion sets in. when the body screams for rest, when the mind begs to stop. But do you know what seasoned runners call that? The wall. And here's the thing about walls. They're not the end. They're an illusion. They're the body's way of testing if you're serious enough to push through. On the other side of that wall is a surge of strength you didn't know you had. On the other side of that wall is the finish line. Life works the same way. That wall you're facing, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your health, your dreams, isn't there to stop you. It's there to see if you're willing to break through. Let me tell you about a man named Daniel. He grew up in poverty, in a neighborhood where dreams didn't survive long. He wanted to be a musician, but everyone around him laughed. Be realistic, they said. People like us don't make it. Still, he carried his guitar everywhere. He played on street corners, in empty coffee shops, in clubs where nobody clapped. Years passed, and Daniel still wasn't where he wanted to be. His friends had settled into jobs, bought houses, started families, while he scraped by, barely affording rent. He wondered if they were right, if he was foolish for chasing something so impossible. One night, after another failed gig, he almost gave it up. But then he whispered to himself, "What if I can? What if I'm closer than I think?" He chose to push through his wall. He kept playing, kept writing, kept pouring his soul into every note. And years later, one of his songs went viral. Suddenly, the man who was told to quit was headlining concerts. His music wasn't just heard. It was healing people, inspiring people. Now ask yourself, what if Daniel had quit on mile 20? What if he stopped when life got hardest? The world would have missed the gift only he could give. So let me ask you, what gift is the world missing because you haven't pushed through your wall? What if the dream in your heart isn't random? What if it was placed there for a reason? What if your struggle isn't punishment, it's preparation? Too many of us think we need the perfect plan before we move. We want to see the whole staircase before we take the first step. But life doesn't work that way. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need the courage to take the next step. Think about a candle in the dark. It doesn't light up the entire room at once. It only lights the space around it. But the more you move forward, the more the path becomes clear. That's how faith works. That's how courage works. So when fear says, "What if you fail?" you respond, "What if I fly?" When doubt says, "What if you're not ready?" you respond, "What if I'm stronger than I think?" There's a young woman named Emily whose story still gives me chills. She grew up shy, terrified of speaking in public. Just the thought of raising her hand in class made her heart race. But deep down, she had a dream of becoming a teacher, of standing in front of classrooms, inspiring kids. Her biggest fear was also her greatest calling. How ironic is that? For years, she avoided it, took jobs behind desks, away from people. But the dream never left. And finally, one day, she asked herself, "What if I can? What if my fear is the very reason I have to do this?" She started small, volunteering to read to kids at the library, practicing presentations in front of friends. Step by step, her confidence grew. Today, she isn't just a teacher. She's an award-winning educator, changing the lives of hundreds of children. What changed? Not the fear, it was still there. What changed was her belief. She chose to answer her fear with a bigger question. What if I can? And that's the secret. Fear never fully disappears. Doubt never fully disappears. But courage isn't about having no fear. It's about moving anyway. So let me ask you, what walls are you facing right now? Is it debt? Is it heartbreak? Is it the weight of your own self-doubt? And what if that wall isn't your end, but your beginning? You don't need to have all the answers today. You just need to take the step that's in front of you. Because the truth is, you're stronger than you think. And the moment you start asking, "What if I can?" life will begin to show you that you can. Don't rob yourself, or the world, of the greatness inside you by stopping at the wall. Push through, fight through, believe through. Because your finish line, your breakthrough, your victory, it's waiting just on the other side. Life has a way of cornering you, doesn't it? It puts you in situations where you feel like you're drowning. Like no matter how hard you fight, the tide just keeps pulling you under. That's when people start whispering to themselves, "Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this is just the way my life will always be." But that's not truth. That's surrender. And surrender is not your destiny. Think about it. Every person you admire, every hero, every role model, every figure who's left their mark on this world has faced the same storms. The only difference? They didn't let the storm define them. They looked at the waves crashing against them and said, "What if I can swim through this?" I'll never forget a story about a soldier named Marcus. He came back from deployment broken, physically, emotionally, mentally. The battlefield had left scars no one could see. He couldn't sleep, couldn't work, and he felt useless to the people he loved. Depression sank its claws into him, and he nearly ended it all. But one night, sitting in his truck, he thought about his daughter. He thought about how much she needed him. And through the tears, he whispered, "What if I can get better? What if this isn't the end of my story?" That one question pulled him back from the edge. He started therapy. He went to the gym, even when he could barely lift the weights. He faced every nightmare, every panic attack, with the stubborn belief that maybe, just maybe, he could rise again. And he did. Today, Marcus speaks to other veterans, telling them, "Your scars are not your ending. They're the proof that you survived. And if you survived, you can rebuild." His life is living proof of the question, what if you can? So ask yourself, what's your battlefield? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's the quiet war in your mind that nobody knows you're fighting. Whatever it is, your story isn't over. Don't you dare put a period where life has only put a comma. You're still here. And if you're still here, that means there's more for you. Think about the regrets of those who never tried. Imagine being 80 years old, looking back at your life, and realizing you let fear win. You let doubt write your story. You let comfort kill your dreams. Do you really want that? Or do you want to look back and say, "I may not have gotten everything right, but I tried. I gave my all. I asked, what if I can, and I found out that I could." Here's the raw truth. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to hand you the life you dream of. You have to build it. You have to fight for it. You have to rise for it. But here's the beauty. You can. You've already survived things you thought would break you. You've already overcome storms you thought you'd never get through. You've already proven, time and time again, that you are stronger than you give yourself credit for. So why stop now? Why give up here? There's a quote that says, "She stood in the storm, and when the wind did not blow her way, she adjusted her sails." That's resilience. That's courage. That's the spirit of what if I can. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to take one step forward, and then another, and then another. What if you can write that book? What if you can start that business? What if you can rebuild that relationship? What if you can heal what's been broken? What if you can change your life, and in doing so, inspire others to change theirs? Because that's the hidden power in all this. When you rise, you don't just rise for yourself. You rise for the people watching you, your kids, your friends, the strangers who will never tell you, but who will see your courage and think, if they can, maybe I can too. Your story is bigger than you. Your fight is bigger than you. And your victory will be bigger than you. So don't stop now. Don't listen to the voice that says you can't. Turn up the volume on the one that whispers, "What if you can?" Because here's the truth. You can. You always could. You just needed to believe it long enough to see it. Picture this. You're standing at the edge of your life's greatest moment. Ahead of you is the life you've always wanted. The health, the success, the freedom, the love, the peace. But behind you is fear, doubt, comfort, and all the excuses that have kept you small. You have two choices. Step forward into the unknown, or stay where it's safe. Most people will stay. Most people will live and die inside the cage of their own comfort. But not you. You're here, listening to this, because something inside you is restless. Something inside you refuses to accept an average life. Something inside you is asking, right now, what if I can? And let me tell you, the answer is yes. You can. You can rise above the heartbreak that tried to break you. You can rebuild your life after loss. You can rewrite your story, no matter how many chapters have already been written. You can do the thing that terrifies you. You can chase the dream that seems impossible. Because impossible is just a word used by people who gave up too early. Remember Sarah, the single mother who finished school against all odds? Remember Daniel, The musician who played in empty rooms before his music touched the world? Remember Marcus, the soldier who thought his life was over until he chose to fight back? They all faced the same fear, the same doubt, the same voice that said, "You can't." But they answered it with a stronger voice. "What if I can?" And that made all the difference. So now I ask you, what will you do with your life? Will you let fear keep you on the sidelines, watching others live the life you dream of? Or will you step onto the field and play your game? Here's the truth. Time doesn't stop. Life doesn't wait. Every day you hesitate is a day you never get back. The question isn't, what if I can't? The question is, what if I can and I never tried? Think about the people who need you to rise. Your family, your children, your community, maybe even strangers who will never meet you, but whose lives will be better because you didn't quit. When you choose courage, you don't just change your life. You create a ripple that touches countless others. So here's your call to action. Stop waiting. Stop doubting. Stop asking for permission to live the life you were created for. Start now. Take the step. Push through the wall. Ask yourself every single day, what if I can? And then go prove that you can. Because one day, when you look back, you won't regret the times you tried and failed. You'll regret the times you never tried at all. Don't let your story be one of regret. Let it be one of courage. Let it be one of resilience. Let it be one of victory. You have one life, one shot, one chance to write a story worth telling. So go write it. Go live it. Go fight for it. And when doubt comes knocking, and it will, look it in the eye and remind it of the question that started everything. What if I can? Because you can. You always could. Now it's time to show the world.